Shout out and thank you to everybody that left comments, including Wowgo themselves. So I got some comments in order to try to help me with a couple of the minor issues that I've had with the board, to include the bubbles and maybe that clicking noise. So we're going to tear that back apart and see if we can get some of the little problem fixed. I got a surprise for everybody. Stepping up my game. So I got one of the doodads. Gonna try to set it up. No more holding the camera or holding the phone. Try to get some better quality video for everybody watching. Let me snap to it and get this set up and see what we can do. So I put some oblique lighting, I think is what it's called, but just put a different light source so you guys can see the bubble that I'm messing with. A couple people reached out and said in the comments, hey, if you want to get rid of the bubbles, all you got to do is pop them with a razor blade and then use your finger to manipulate the air out of the center of where you popped it, and then it should lay down. So let's give it a try. Gonna start with this largest bubble right here by the Wowgo. Poke it right in the center with a razor blade. Try to get all the air into the center. And sure enough, I hope that came out. I'm gonna massage it a little bit more, but that huge, large bubble is now gone. So thank you very much for everybody that left the comments. I really appreciate it, especially with this grip tape that's kind of, it has, you know, some sponginess to it or whatever. It's definitely gonna help out. Now I'm gonna go ahead and pause it and do all of the bubbles and see what it looks like at the end. And we're back. So not perfect, it definitely worked. As you can see, there's still a lot of little ones. What I tried to do is I tried to work all of the little bubbles into one big one to limit how many slits that I put in the top of this grip tape. For the most part, it worked. I think I'm happy with this. I'm going to leave it. I will say that yes, this does work, but I do think, as you can see how many bubbles were in this, there should have been a little bit more care from the factory on how this got placed on. I understand the concept of putting on grip tape. If you stick the edge down on the board, because this is a concave board, if you stick the edge down first, that's when you're going to get all the pockets. If you roll it from the center out or from one edge to the other, then you can kind of limit some of the air pockets that are in here. It seems like, I don't know if this is put on by hand or put on by a machine, but if there's a little bit more care when it put on, there wouldn't be so many bubbles. I don't know, you can kind of see them in the camera, about, rough guess, 15 little bubbles now. Anywhere where there was a big bubble, I'm talking, you know, some of the bubbles were 4 inches long by 2 inches wide. So this is definitely an improvement. I really focused on where my feet go, so at the front and at the back of the board, and it definitely worked. So let's flip this board over and check out the belts and the drive pulleys. So let's take a look here. First of all, Wowgo reached out and said, hey, that is loose. According to my other video, the gear pulley is loose. I had initially said in the other video that I didn't see a hex key in there. That's not the case. There is a hex key in there. You can see it sticking out a little bit. Wowgo said use a 1.5 millimeter L wrench, what they called it, Allen wrench, and get in there, loosen it or tighten it down. Somebody else in the comments, thank you very much for everybody in the comments once again, but somebody else said, hey, those come loose all the time. You need to put Loctite on it. Start with blue, go to red, and then if all else fails, use JB Weld. I don't want to go the JB Weld route quite yet. Thank you very much for the comments and the suggestions. I guess if it keeps loosening up every 30 miles or so, I might have to go that route. But I don't think blue Loctite is going to be strong enough for this. I'm going to use red. Now, for all those that don't know, so yellow Loctite is the weakest. Blue is the next strongest grade. Red and kind of the, as far as commonly bought off the shelf at Walmart or local auto parts store, red is kind of the strongest Loctite. Now, you run a risk, especially with this really small little Allen, 1.5 millimeter isn't very big at all. You run a risk of seizing this in here where you try to use an Allen wrench to get it out and you're just going to strip it out. And in that case, I don't know, you're probably going to have to replace an entire motor because you're not going to be able to get that out. But if it holds, then it holds. So I'm going to try with red Loctite. Note is that none of the tools that they provided, this little Allen key, none of them are 1.5 millimeter. The smallest Allen that they provided is too big to even fit in the hole, let alone loosen that up. So I had to use my own little Allen key for it. There is an Allen in the T-tool that they provide you, but that's not going to work either. Little Phillips, little Allen. That's not going to work either. So as far as getting the gear off, you're going to have to use your own tools. Now I will say that the motor itself has a little indent, which is nice. So once you lock that down tight, as long as it doesn't loosen up, it should stay tight, but obviously it loosened up on this one. I'm probably going to flip it over, even though the other side isn't really having the same problem, but I'm going to put some red Loctite on that as well. Now I will say that instead of 30 miles, I now have about 45 miles on this board. One other thing that I'm running into, let me find the wheel, is one of the bearings. They're supposed to be sealed bearings, I think, but one of them is leaking oil out. So we'll see how long these bearings last with it leaking all of its oil out. But all right, let me get some red Loctite on this and get it put back together, and we'll see how it is. Here's a little set screw. Just have it on the end of a 1.5 millimeter Allen. Used a wire brush to clean it up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one drop, that's all you need, one drop of red Loctite on there, and then I'm going to put it back together. It's probably hard to make that out, but you can see that red shine to it. One drop right on the top of it, a red Loctite, goes around into the threads and you're good to go. So I have it started in there. What I'm doing now is I'm just moving it up and down just a little bit while tightening it to make sure that it fits into the hole that's drilled into the motor shaft. Get it snug with that end. Flip it over. I'm not going to over torque this. I'm just going to put some force on it, make sure it wants to stay there. I don't have the best Allen set. This one's from Harbor Freight, so if I torque it down too much, I'm going to strip my Allen, but seem to have done wonders. There's no more play in the top of it, as you can see. Any movement that you see there, you can see in the bottom of the motor also. So it's completely tight now. We'll let that set up, but I'll throw the belt on it, see if that cured the clicking noise or not. So I didn't get this on camera before. I'm not loosening the motor at all to get the belts on and off. I kind of just have this on the shaft, get the belt started a little bit, and then start to push down evenly while rotating it. You shouldn't force it. You shouldn't be hitting it with a hammer. Just kind of massage it down. And while putting force on this and putting force on the top of the belt, you can feed the belt on. Still good tension on that belt. You can see there's no air gap in the top where the belt connects, so it's good tension on the belt. And there is no more clicking. So that definitely solved the problem. Thank you very much, Wowgo, for putting that in the comments, and thank you everybody else that commented. That gives me some peace of mind. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this board over, do the other side, and then get it all put back together. Okay, I have it flipped over to the other side. Now this side, there's the tiniest bit of play in here. Nothing crazy, tiniest bit of play. But this is what I'm talking about. So put the Allen wrench in here, and sorry for my fat fingers in the way, but try to start torquing on this, and I can feel either the Allen wrench, which is most likely the case, the Allen wrench is starting to round out. So even when I try to put pressure this way, there, it pops back. So I'm going to leave this side alone. That Allen key is locked in there pretty tight, and I'm just going to end up stripping something out. So if it works its way out over time, then I'll throw some red Loctite on this side and go from there. But I'm not going to either round out this cheaper Allen wrench or strip that key, because if I strip that key, then I have to go online and buy another one or contact Wowgo or whatever, and that's if I can even get it out. If you strip that, you might be replacing the whole motor. So I'm gonna leave this side alone. Board is all back together. Cured the clicking problem. So thank you again for everybody that commented, and thank you Wowgo for reaching out and commenting on the video. Definitely worked. I appreciate it.